All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today I want to just break some stuff down and I want to kind of discuss something. Well, a couple of things really. You're probably wondering why the title is called Opinions in Assholes. Well, if you think about it, opinions are really like assholes because everybody has one. Okay? So it's kind of an inside joke there, kind of mixed in with it. So I got on Facebook this morning and I was checking my messages, and normally I just scroll past a lot of this shit because most of the time people don't need another opinion. Okay. They don't need you to even waste your time on them. Okay. But this individual is full of ego and is fully into the popularity aspects of the craft, okay, of his particular practice. It's not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing, okay? In this case, if his ego is not in check, he could lead himself and others down a desolate road, okay? I've seen this time and time again over the years. However, the fact that he actually felt the need not only to post twice back to back on my Facebook, my Facebook post, but he felt the need. He was so driven that he literally posted two photos of his personal altar. Okay, his personal altar. Okay, and I'm going to read to you what he says. To do real necromancy, you need real dead stuff and real bones, or add real bones to an object like that skull to the left. I have the same one, but added a real human jawbone and the teeth. And he posted a photo of his altar. And then he posts again and he says, These peace is chill all the demon seals, basically sigils. But he misspelled a couple of words. And I'm going to show this to you so you can actually see it. Okay. I don't know if you could see it, but there it is. Okay. This is by Ryan Wynn. Okay. Ryan Wynn. All right. First of all, and I'm going to kind of just go on to this for a few minutes. It's a good thing I made coffee before I did this video. So, anyways, necromancy, like any tradition, there are some items that you need. Okay. But there are those that you don't need. Yes, when you do necromancy, it's always good to go to a graveyard to perform certain rites. To have, like, say, marble from a broken piece of a tombstone that you blessed and sanctified and had the spirits sanctifying, in their names to place upon your own altar. Okay. There are things and a whole list of things that you can use to place upon your altar, such as bones, femurs, joint bones, the jaw bones, a skull, a whole bunch of things. But you really don't need the clutter. Okay. See, a lot of these newbies today, these new age practitioners believe that more is better. Okay. And it's it's very interesting to see that a lot of these people are associated with Balg. They're very heavily influenced by Balg. That's how to become a living god. Okay. Now, in this case, the individual commented on demons, all the sigils of all the demons of the Goetic. Okay, this is the lesser key of Solomon, the Goetia. Okay, and he's talking about altars. Okay, first of all, why don't we talk about altars? Okay, you go into just about any grimoire. Let's go with let's go with the Grand Grimoire. Okay, Red Dragon to be precise. The Triangle of Evocation. Okay, that's the triangle. Okay, and inside you have a burned pot, candles at all three portions, and you have the devil's name or the archdemon that you're working with. Okay, that are placed in there. Okay, those of you who get into hermetics, occultism, you know what I'm talking about there because this is also into this. Here you can use the devil's names or the angelic names. Okay, for an example, you take Azazel. Okay, or Lucifer's Raphael. Okay, these are the two biggest names that work within this triangle of evocation. And it's very easy to break down the name by removing the vowels. Okay, now at least that's what you're supposed to do. However, you don't really need that. A Z A Z E L. Okay, two, and two. That's two letters per corner. The burn pot, which you can use with the summoning of incense. And you'll notice that's just all it is. You even have your athame. Okay, no wand, no nothing, just three pillars and a burn pot. Okay, you don't need much to perform any form of sorcery. You go into Raymond Buckland's book, The Complete Book of Witchcraft. I believe it's page 8, I think. It's either page 8 or somewhere around there. He gives a detailed description of the pagan altar, okay, with a drawing on a tree stump that had been cut. Okay, you take a tree, you cut it. What's left, that flat section, that's where he placed his altar. Okay, shows the rectangle. Okay, with a bowl, anathema, two candles, and the offerings. Okay, not just the chalice. In each setting, you have a specific location for a specific item. Okay. On top of that, he gives the dimensions, the diameters, if you are building or erecting an altar. Okay. You go into, let's go with the black pellet. Okay. The black pellet deals with seals. Okay. Seals, sigils, things for various necromantic rites. Okay. One to bring forth spirits for wealth, another one to bring forth just about anything you really want, women, male companionship, whatever, from incubus to incubi, to bringing forth knowledge from other dimensions, calling forth spirits for various different tasks. Again, nothing real extreme, okay? Nothing too flush, if you wish. I mean, you can go with, like, say, my brother and friend Bohemoth X. Okay, his altars are always beautiful, fascinating. Okay, I love his altar settings, but I'm not him. I don't feel the need to go out and do that. Okay, I have my own altar that I do things with, and it's set up in a spiritual way. Okay, just spiritualism. Now let's go into let's go with the clavicle of Solomon. Okay, since this individual wants to go with the Goetia, let's kind of bring this into it. Now there are different seals that are used for 7 days. This one seal for a particular day of the week. You have a particular seal that is set up for planetary zodiacs, and these could also be used as devil traps. Okay, the Goetia was originally part of this. So, and if this individual actually did his homework, he would know this. Okay, the fact that he's using skulls and other things really shows that you're not really paying much attention to what you're doing. So let me bring this up one more time. I want you to get a full view of the altar. Now I want you to pay attention to the top one first. Okay. This is his altar setup. You'll notice the skull. Okay. You'll notice various different types of bones just on to the right of it. But then you got the goat horns with the skull on top. Notice the candles. Okay. He has one candle decorated to Astaroth. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is that Astaroth is based off of Stardy, okay, which was actually made into a male. Okay, he was upgraded to a male when the Judo-Christian institutions took over the region of Middle East, Eastern origins. Okay, now Astartes is the same as Persephone, Proserpine. Okay, the even a few others that were I'm not going to name right now that did a descent into the underworld. Okay, it's a state of purification process, and if you follow the descending process of the story behind Astarte, Persephone, or Proserpine, there's a few depending on the era and the region that they're spoken of. Okay, so you really have to pay attention to this detail. It wasn't until the Renaissance that demonolatry started appearing. It really wasn't until the first mention of Astarte, or in this case, Astaroth, wasn't until the second century. Okay, as being the third highest member of the hierarchy, following Lucifer the Emperor, Beelzebub the Prince, and then Astaroth. Okay, and then you had Lucifer's Raphael, and then the Goetic demons after that. The ranked ones. So, and then everybody else underneath this. Now, everybody from White to Francis Barrett had their own opinions and their own viewpoints of the devils and where they stood. Okay. You go into, for an example, we go into the Mishra, the Jewish Haggadah, going to Jewish demonolatry, and you got various different perspectives on Satan. Okay. You have various different views of Lucifer when you get into the Grimoire traditions. Okay. You get into the JCI corrupted text, you'll see where he's associated with the sin of pride. Okay. This goes along with Second Corinthians chapter 14, verse, was it? Yeah, 14:12. Okay. You see where he gets into the whole pride, whereas Satan is wrath. Okay. Or better yet, he's more of the leader of witches, and he's the creator of witches and warlocks in this perspective. And a lot of people believe that he is the devil. Well, let's take a look at this. Number one, Satan is a Grigori. He's the chief Grigori, a watcher angel. Okay, not a devil. Okay, a lot of people get him mixed up with Zazazel. Okay, Azazel. And this comes from the book of Enoch, um, 10 through 18. Okay, where he supposedly led the tens of tens to their downfall. Okay, the association with the daughters of men, Book of Genesis, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah type thing, and they bore children unto them. They became known as Nephilim. There's a whole bunch of different stories behind this. But this is where Satan and Azazel came into play. But Azazel was more Jewish custom. He's known as the scapegoat because of Lot, the casting of lots from the book of Leviticus, the burned offerings, the sin offerings. Now, in the book of Exodus, when they're out in the wilderness, Moses is supposedly up on the mountain, okay, praying and dealing with the Ten Commandments that are being given to him. His brother Aaron, the chief priest of the Aaronites, was down below dealing with their people, okay, and he two graven images, okay, goats. One that was sacrificed to Jehovah because it was unblemished. Okay, and the other one was cast out into the wilderness. Now, this is if you go into the Yom Kippur scroll, okay, the text known as the Yom Kippur, you'll see the actual ritual that they performed. Okay, this is a Hebrew ritual, much like the Bar Mitzvah, if you wish. In this case, it's more of the fact that you have a rocky and sharp rocky terrain that a goat has to go down. Okay. You have people at various different intervals reporting back at how far that goat got down. Now, picture a goat trying to run down this rocky terrain, being cut up by the shards of rocks. I'm talking ligaments, blood. I'm talking flesh that's been torn open. That is where this came from. Okay. He became known as the scapegoat in the mainstream JCI. You see, this is what I mean by you have to know the origins of something before you can speak on them. Just like the altar setups, you have grimoire setups, you have the old setups. You go into the old world, such as Swedish witchcraft. Okay, you go into the hexa, for an example. That's Haxa. For those of you who want to look that up, this particular name is for witches in the proto European world. Okay, this is going as far back as the 6th century BC. Okay, before Christ. Okay, but also you can go into the Strega. Okay, you can go into the Eshi or the Aji. Okay, the witch, the warlock. In some cases, it's both a classification of witch and a practice. Other cases, it's a type of practitioner. You look at the African Caribbean traditions. You have in Brujeria the Brua or the Brua. Okay. You have the Polero, the Miramberos in Pelo Mayambi and Santaria. Okay. You have the Boko or the Capilata. That's the male and female name for the uninitiated. Okay. Then you have the Hungan and the Membo. This is the Haitian variation of Voodoo. Okay. If you get into the Dominican Republic, you have the Mama and the Papa. Okay. You have the Babalawi. Okay. You have the High Council. You have the witch doctors. Okay. There's a whole bunch of names that are associated with practitioners. And when you get into devil worship, a lot of people on social media talk about hell. Okay. Even Christians love preaching to you about hell. Do you want to go to hell? Type shit. Okay. The other day, I went to Walmart, one city over. They were the only one close enough that had an item that I needed. So I was standing in line at the front cashiering, and this woman, in a mobile cart, kind of rolled in. She was with the people in front of me, which I understood. And you got this kid, probably, I'm gonna say roughly about 14, maybe 13, 14 years of old, trying to sell his sister-in-law, and it was funny. So it was kind of funny. So I'm sitting there minding my own business, just waiting for my time in line. And this kid comes over and he says, "Hey, do you believe in God?" And I said, "No." Just keeping it simplistic. I'm not going to get into a religious war with a 13-year-old. you know, so especially with dumbasses, they don't know what they're talking about. So he goes, "Well, do you believe in hell?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Do you believe in anything?" I said, "Science." You know, just kept it simple. One word reply. That was all it took. Shut the kid right down. Now, if I had wanted to, I could have gotten into it with him and kind of educated him. Are we talking shul, you know, which is Islamic, okay, or kind of Islamic Jewish text, okay? It's their version of hell, and then you have Jahannam, which is Hebrew. Okay. You have Hel, Hel, from Norse mythology, which is both a goddess of the dead and a location. You have Abaddon and Apollyon, the Greek variation of Abaddon, okay, which is both an angel and a location. Okay. So I mean, you could technically go into the various different traditions of what is a hell. You can go into Asian Buddhism, many hells. Okay. Again, simplistic, direct to the locations and the actual knowledge. So I mean, I put this on my on a Facebook group, and this guy posted twice, back to back. Nobody else has actually posted on this yet, and it's funny. So this guy's sitting here saying, "You to do real necromancy, you need really." That's like a Christian sitting there going, "Well, you either put yourself in God's mercy or in his favor, or you're going to hell." Who gives a shit what other people think? Because this individual obviously hasn't realized that your descent into sorcery or any variation of sorcery is your own. It is your own. It has nothing to do with anyone else. The only people's advice that I cherish and heed is that of my elders. Outside of that, I report to the spirits that I work with. That's it. Anyone outside of that, I don't pay much attention to because 9 times out of 10, they have not done their homework. 9 times out of 10, they're just following the herd conformity. Let's jump on that little bandwagon. Yeah, it's not about popularity. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's not about who's, you know, following what. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Okay. And this kid obviously hasn't gotten out of his own way. Okay. He has not gotten out of his own way because he's speaking from ego and from wanting the need for dominance. He's wanting to be popular. So he's coming across as an idiot, not a practitioner. You got to know the difference between them. Ego has no place in sorcery. Popularity, get rid of it. It's like some of these individuals who have these big ass fucking channels on social media these days. They've got hundreds of thousands of followers. And then they sit there and tell you, well, you got to put testimonials forth. You got to do this. You got to do that. Really, why do I want to be a part of that flock? Why do I want to, you know what I'm saying? Why do I want to go on that bandwagon? It's not about ego. It's not about popularity. It's not about the number of subscribers or how many subscribers you have. If you can't be yourself and you can't post knowledge of your journey into sorcery and actually back it up with truth, facts from various different sources, then the best thing you need to do is keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, you're going to be made an idiot. You're going to be made to look the fool. And this individual did that just by posting twice back to back. Okay. He came across with ego. He came across as somebody that has no knowledge behind what he's practicing, which means he's most likely just an armchair magician hiding behind a keyboard. It's the look at me fashion. If I post a video of one of my altars, if I'm doing a rite, like say for an example, a few days ago I did a rite with my scepter. Okay, my brother shipped me a scepter that he made. It was a great gift. I loved it, you know. But I've had it for a while, and now I haven't been able to cleanse it. I hadn't had been able to get around to giving it a name, giving it a purpose. Okay, so at the end of the ritual, I kind of recorded a small little video of it, you know, with the altar that I share with the public. It's the only altar I share with the public. And it's kind of interesting because I'm showing you 1% of what I'm actually doing. In this case, I named it Tonight's Rite was a necromantic one. Okay. I didn't say what kind of rite I was doing. Okay. Not everything requires jawbones. Not everything requires, skulls. Not everything needs an oversimplistic or an overabundance of crap. Okay. I used to be like this kid and when I was younger and thinking that it was about having more. The more items on my altar meant more power, more respect. Until you realize you need to get out of your own way. You don't need clutter on your altar. You only need a select few things. The rest, you can just place around your altar. You can place them just about anywhere, even throughout your home. But what it comes down to is those very few items, just a few couple of little items. All you need is a skull. All you need is a scepter. All you need is that horn. Okay, or all you need is your athame, your bell, your chalice, maybe a wand if you're feeling ambitious. But you don't need a lot of things just cluttering your altar. I mean, this guy's altar is very clean. It clearly shows that he's put a lot of thought into what looks like a fish tank underneath a platform. But obviously, this individual doesn't know about necromancy. Necromantic rites are done in the dark. You can go to any number of locations, a forest, a cemetery, an abandoned church, places of spiritual, power, places that have intersecting currents. You can go, you can have all these items between those locations and your personalized altar, but it's going to be an altar of death. Okay. I see no graveyard dirt. I see no salt. I see no black sand, no seals whatsoever. And I'm not talking about demonic seals. No, I'm talking about seals such as runes, I'm talking the old school ways that set up protections, things like reversals, protection, invisibility, cloaking, stuff like that. And it's interesting because this kid has none of this stuff. He does have a whole bunch of candles, red and black ones. He's got a drum and off to the corner here. He's got an inverted pentagram. That really didn't come into popularity until the 19th century. Outside of that, he's got a lot of necklaces and just one skull. It looks From this angle, it really looks like somebody just slapped a wallpaper over the front of something. And you can actually see it. Look at the top one right here. See right there? That looks more like a wallpaper than actual, skulls, skeletons, bones. What about bone casting? Do you have bone castings? Do you have individual bones on your altars? No, he doesn't. Again, making himself out to be something that he's not. Again, driven by ego. So right here, everything he just said has been debunked, has been made fallacy. So basically, his opinion does not matter. He's shown himself to be an idiot, a fool. You want to know what something is? Do your own research. Do your own homework, and don't be afraid to get into it. Do that big old belly flop into that deep end of the pool. Don't be afraid to stick up for what you are led into by the spirits. For an example, over the last couple of years, I've done a complete 360. I went from Satanism into necromancy just in the last 2 to 3 years. That led me into European traditions, which led me down into African, Caribbean traditions, two of which I was already initiated into 10 years ago. 10, 11 years ago, I should say, because it was back in 010. We're now in 2021. So the point is, it's led me right back into these traditions. I don't know why. I don't understand why their spirits are bringing me into these. I know I've made a huge connection with Papa Gedi from the Haitian Voodoo system. I've been working a lot with Oya from Santeria. Been working a lot of black magic and sorcery through necromancy of Pedo Mayumbi, getting into Brujeria, and getting back into Santa Morte, beloved death. And it's interesting to see just how much my world has opened up. So I mean, I do agree with the chemical mind. At some point, they start arguing over success rates and stuff. It's kind of a cringe, to be honest. I concur with that. I do concur with that. So I mean, it's you just come to expect this stuff, and it's like you just have to pick your battles and watch what you say. Okay. In this case, there was no verbal, there was no prayer, there was nothing, just a audio, visual of the altar that I share with the public and the scepter that I was working with. I never said what the rite was. I never said what it was. So the guy actually assumed that it was a necromantic one. For all he knows, for all he could know, it could have been a satanic one. It could have been something to do with Norse mythology. It could have been something out of the Necromyicon, you know, Lovecraftian. But he went directly towards necromantic practices. Interesting how that works. So just be careful on who you trust and who you share things with. If you're not protected and you don't know what you're doing and you didn't back up what you're preaching, guess what? You'll be made the fool. You'll be made out to be the idiot that stood against a superior mage. Okay? So don't make that mistake. All right. So, anyways, so knowledge is power, and true power is undefiled wisdom. That's Anton Zandaleve. Okay. So back up what you preach by numerous sources, and nothing will stand in your way. Okay. Also, make sure you have that experience. All right. Have a good day. I want to thank, let's see, Anchor, Afro Mixed, Root Witch, The Chemical Mind, and XXXWWWXXX7464 for joining on here with me. Okay? Have a good day, and until next time.